And we're back after a brief break. South Texas Now, airing on NBC, CBS, Telemundo, and also on all the social media platforms, plus KTMB Carlos Lopez's station. With me is Judge Timothy McCoy, Court 5. If you don't know what Court 5 does, it is vital. It is one of the hardest working courts in Texas. Welcome, Judge.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Good to see you. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand what Court 5 does. So let's just go down to brass tacks. You've been there a decade and change. What do you do on a typical day?
The bulk of our docket is, of course, CPS cases. Now, Court 5 is a specialty court. It was, as you know, you've practiced there. We grew up practicing there. And it handles all the CPS, juvenile delinquency or juvenile criminal matters, anything Class B misdemeanor above, guardianships, and then JP appeals of all, Justice of the Peace Court appeals of all things. So basically everything no one else wants to do.
It's a tough job. Yeah, one of the heartbreaking things, not just the kids, that in itself is hard. But I'm seeing more and more people over 50 that don't have parents, that don't have siblings, and aren't married, and they are needing special oversight. Tell us a little bit about guardianships.
Well, and that really guardianship law and guardianships in general have changed a lot since I've been on the bench. You know, you said a decade. That's a long time. I'm the longest sitting judge on that bench at this point. But people are living longer. They're healthier, and because of that, they're living longer. They need, sometimes in their later years, need some help, and in that case, many times somebody has to jump in to make decisions for them, medical or financial. If they start having mental lapses and that kind of thing, and that's where guardianships come in, and that's one thing we have exclusive jurisdiction for over.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more of that, and because people are living longer, and it's a tremendous
we're seeing more
duty.
cases. You're right.
Yeah,
and we're seeing more contested cases, which is interesting. We're almost like pre-will contests.
Yeah, the daughter thinks that she was going to be the one to take care of mom, and then mom marries the tennis pro, the last month before she passes or becomes incapacitated. The other thing, people don't want to let go of their independence. So how do you determine whether or not they can manage their affairs?
Well, the state takes guardianships and the court takes guardianships very seriously. I mean, because you're doing exactly what you just said. If you grant a guardianship over somebody, you're basically taking their constitutional rights away. You're taking away for example, their right to vote in some instances, their right to make decisions with regards to where they live, and the right to manage their own finances. So in order to do that, there has to be a big chunk of proof in front of you. You have to have physicians that say, yes, this person is having those issues. They're automatically, no matter what, how much money they make or what the situation is, are appointed a lawyer to make sure they're being represented and not being taken advantage of. Not only that, but once a guardianship case opens and is granted before the court has oversight over that case indefinitely until either the guardianship closes or they pass away, which if they're handling finances, I have to go through and audit all the finances to make sure they're not being taken advantage of financially by their guardian. We have to have somebody go see them, and they have to submit annual reports every year with regards to the health and well-being. So the court has continued oversight over these cases. And that's a big part of what I do, too. If I'm not on the bench, I'm generally over auditing guardianship files.
And some of these horrendous children cases that you have on the other end of the spectrum. Take, for instance, sometimes you have multiple children someone, not judging here, but someone has 4 fathers, for 6 kids, and mom, and then there might be unknown fathers, which always freaks me out. It's like unknown fathers. How do you handle those types of cases with multiple children? And I think they want to reunify with mom, but maybe she's on drugs, maybe she's making the wrong choices with a violent partner.
Well, there's a number, and again, that's a whole other aspect of what we do at Court 5 with the CPS cases or Child Protective Services cases. Any case involving the Department of Family and Protective Services, or what we call CPS, goes through Court 5. So if a child is going to get taken into the conservatorship of the state or CPS, this court is the one that makes the decision with regards to that and what's done. It is amazing. You'd be surprised what goes on right under our noses. Some of the abuse and neglect that happens. It's increased statewide. It's not just an Oasis County issue, but saying that, we have so many great programs in place, and we've done really well in the way we handle those cases, getting them done in a timely manner. Our reunification rate is one of the best in the state. Getting these families back together, and sometimes you can't. The cases are bad, and sometimes you can't get a family back together. I did 4 adoptions this morning in Court 5, where children remain in foster and care, and sometimes you have to terminate parental rights.
That's a sad situation, but a lot of the time you give a parent a chance, the program to work, and they still mess up. They're still using drugs. They're addicted, or they break the law, or they continue to neglect their children. Are you seeing very young mothers and fathers taking care of these children, and that's part of it, or is it more drugs opposed to youth?
I can tell you, when somebody it doesn't take a lot of money to raise a child. It just doesn't. Money,
unless they're spoiled.
Well, exactly.
I didn't mean that, Vanessa.
Yeah, but the vast majority of people, it doesn't matter if you have a minimum wage job. There are programs out there that are available to help you. There's food stamps, there's housing, there's benefits, and most people are great people, and they raise their kids and they do well, no matter the monetary situation, and make it happen. They navigate the system and love their kids and do great. When you see the chronic, homelessness, abuse and neglect, unemployment, that type of stuff, and you do see it, there's generally a couple of reasons for it. You're going to have a capacity issue maybe, which you can generally see up front, or drugs and alcohol. And unfortunately, I'd say well over 90% of the CPS cases we see involve drugs and alcohol.
Drinking and drugging.
Drugs. And it's, we'll see ebbs and flows when different drugs are introduced to, the system, I guess. And if we can tackle that problem, and we have a specialty drug court for CPS parents, then generally everything else starts to be really easy for people.
On a national level, and we were just talking to someone before the break that has an immigration background. Do you often see Spanish speaking only, or is that a rarity, or are there also those barriers where the parent may not have full citizenship or a green card, or may be subject to deportation?
Well, you mean in CPS cases?
Yes.
I've seen the whole gamut. I guess the answer to your question, yes. I've seen it.
But you're not going to deport them yourself, but you have a duty, or the CPS will get immigration involved. They may be subject to deportation if they're breaking the law or they abuse their child, right?
That could be. That's not my department.
Right.
I'll tell you that. I rule with what's in front of me. Now, no one brings an immigration case to me. However, I have had cases where a parent unfortunately gets deported, or those types of situations. As far as Spanish speaking, I mean, of course, anybody's going to be accommodated when they come into court.
Absolutely.
Interpreters and all that, but. Any scenario, it's a shame, but those scenarios do exist, and we just do the best we can to navigate them.
We got a few minutes left, but what is the biggest problem you see day in and day out with these parents? And I'm not trying to pick on parents that are doing their very best they can. I mean, you don't come with a roadmap to be a parent, but what is the biggest problem? Alcohol? Drugs?
I would say, like I said, and that goes for anything, any case. For example, we also do juvenile cases, handle juvenile cases, and I would say 90% plus of the juveniles that come through Court 5 with a criminal issue test positive for some sort of drug.
Heavy stuff?
Marijuana, at least marijuana.
At least.
Yeah, and that's the most prevalent. However, people make bad decisions when they're impaired, and that's what those substances do to you. But as far as with CPS cases, that's the problem, is the drugs.
It's heartbreaking.
But again, the goal of the laws of the state of Texas are to reunify these children with their parents. And I didn't make the law, but it works. And it's not just because it sounds right. Study after study after study shows that kids do better with their family and their parents. So that's what we work towards. However, again, there are certain circumstances where it just doesn't work, where parents may choose the drugs over their kids, and it's heartbreaking. But if that happens, we do the best we can to help these children and do what's right for them. And find them forever homes.
Knocking on 200,000 doors here in Nueces County. I have not heard. You have to run for office just like most judges. Yes. What would you like to tell the voters out there?
Well, I'm really proud of the work that we've done at Court 5, and it's not just me. I mean, we have a great staff. We have guardianship investigators. We have
Diego,
an associate judge at Martha Huerta that's worked with me since from the get-go. And you said a decade. I've been on the bench now longer than anybody in Court 5. No one can raise their hand and say they have more experience than I do. But what it comes down to is I love what I'm doing. I'm proud of the success we've had, and there's a number of programs that I'm still going to be putting in place with our specialty courts and helping with juvenile crime, especially gun violence. That's going to be a big something I'm biting off this year that I've made a commitment. We're starting a specialty court to you're the first one I've told about it, other than our steering committees and stuff like that.
And the couple 100,000 people watching.
Right, but we're going to specifically address kids carrying weapons, because we've seen a rise in that lately. And I can tell you, every time we've had an issue with crime or a rise in crime and we've addressed it, we've solved it.